Trying to learn English can often feel like an overwhelming task. You know you need to practice, but finding the time is a challenge. This can lead to a frustrating cycle of starting with great motivation, getting busy, stopping, and then starting all over again from zero. The path to fluency, however, isn't about marathon study sessions that lead to burnout. It's about integrating small, consistent, and surprisingly simple habits into your daily life. The real secret is to make English a natural part of your world, not just another task on your to-do list. In this video, I will share 5 powerful habits inspired by a successful English learners who discovered them after years of ineffective studying and mistakes. You can start them today to make steady, meaningful progress without overwhelming your schedule. Habit 1. Let English become your background music. The foundation of this habit is a short, active listening session. Start your day with just 5 to 10 minutes of focused English listening. This could be a short YouTube video, a BBC radio program, or a podcast while you make your breakfast or get dressed. Many people wait for the perfect moment or a free half hour, but that time rarely comes. But here's the truth. It's better to stop waiting for the perfect moment and just start, even with 5 minutes a day. At first, 5 minutes might not seem like much. You might think, what difference can that possibly make? But the key here isn't the duration. It's the consistency. Those small, focused moments add up faster than you realize. 5 minutes today, another 5 tomorrow. In a week, that's over half an hour of intentional listening. And in a month, more than 2 hours of quality exposure. Tiny steps repeated daily lead to extraordinary results over time. When you begin your day with English, even for a short while, something powerful happens. You set the tone for your brain. You send a signal that says, "Today, English matters," and your mind starts to stay alert to it throughout the day. You may catch yourself noticing English words in songs, advertisements, or social media posts simply because you've primed your brain to pay attention. Once you've established that small, active habit, you can supplement it with low-effort background listening. Play English audio while you go about your day, cooking, cleaning, commuting, or walking. You don't have to focus intensely, just let it play. Even when you're not consciously paying attention, your brain continues to absorb the natural rhythm, pronunciation, and sentence structures of the language. This is what I call passive immersion. It's one of the most underrated and yet most powerful ways to speed up your progress. Imagine this. While you wash the dishes, fold your clothes, or drive to work, you're also exposing your brain to native speech patterns, intonation, and vocabulary. You're creating an English environment without even sitting at a desk. And the best part? It doesn't demand any extra time. You're simply replacing silence, or maybe random background noise, with meaningful exposure to the language you want to master. Some learners worry, but what if I don't understand everything? That's okay. In fact, that's the point. You don't need to understand every word. Just like babies don't understand everything adults say around them, you're training your ear to recognize sounds, rhythm, and flow. Over time, your brain starts filling in the gaps. Words that once sounded like a blur begin to separate. Phrases become recognizable. And soon, you'll find yourself understanding without even realizing when it happened. If you want to take this habit to the next level, choose your audio wisely. Don't limit yourself to lessons. Try a mix of materials: podcasts, YouTube videos like TED Talks or interviews with your favorite public figures. Songs. Music is one of the best memory tools. Choose songs you love, look up the lyrics, and try to sing along. It's fun, emotional, and it helps with pronunciation and rhythm. So instead of waiting for the perfect time to sit down with your notebook, just press play. Let English flow in the background of your life, in your car, your kitchen, your headphones while walking to work. Make it the soundtrack of your day. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, before you open your social media or check your messages, try something different. Play an English podcast for 5 minutes. Let it set the mood for your day. Over time, those 5 minutes will stop feeling like an effort and start feeling like part of who you are. A habit so natural that you'll wonder how you ever started your day without it.
Habit 2. Weave English into your daily tasks. Connect English to your real-life activities. When you do this, you stop treating it like homework and start living the language. Instead of trying to find extra time to study, simply do the things you already do, but do them in English. The biggest mistake many learners make is separating English from their normal life, as if learning had to happen only at a desk with a notebook and a dictionary open. But the truth is, your best classroom is your day itself. Your kitchen, your car, your gym, even your shower. When you bring English into the moments you already live, it becomes a natural companion instead of an obligation. This approach is highly effective because you hear relevant vocabulary in a natural context, which helps it stick. Every time you follow instructions, read a label, or listen to someone explain a recipe or exercise, you're giving your brain the chance to connect language with meaning, and that's how real learning happens. Words don't stay as isolated sounds or abstract terms. They gain life because they're tied to real experiences. The next time you need that word, your brain won't need to translate it. It will remember the situation, the smell of the food, the sound of the instructor's voice, the feeling of the movement, and the word will come naturally. For example, let's say you love meditation. Instead of doing it in your native language, follow guided meditations in English. Channels like Great Meditation or Lavender, not lavender, use calm, clear vocabulary that helps you stay relaxed while unconsciously improving your listening skills. As you focus on your breath and repeat phrases like let go, breathe deeply, or focus on the present, those words start to settle into your subconscious. You're not forcing memorization, you're associating English with peace, calm, and mindfulness. Soon, these words will feel emotionally familiar, not foreign. Or maybe cooking is your therapy. Turn on an English recipe video from creators like Tasty, Binging with Babish, or Pick Up Limes. While preparing your meal, you'll naturally absorb dozens of useful action verbs: chop, stir, boil, mix, bake, pour. You'll learn food-related words like ingredients, seasoning, texture, and flavor without sitting down to study them. You might even start thinking in English as you cook. Now I need to add the salt. I should let it cool down a bit. That's when you know the language is becoming part of your thought process. And then there are workouts, one of the best ways to combine physical energy with language exposure. Doing your fitness routines with English-speaking instructors can be surprisingly powerful. Whether it's a high-energy session with Pamela Reif or a more mindful, restorative practice with Yoga with Adrian, you'll hear instructions, encouragement, and rhythm in English. You'll start recognizing patterns, phrases like keep your core tight, take a deep breath, you've got this. Over time, your brain begins to associate English not just with learning, but with motivation, energy, and progress. It becomes a positive, empowering experience rather than a chore. The beauty of this habit lies in its simplicity. You don't need to carve out a specific time for study because English becomes woven into the fabric of what you already do. Every daily task becomes an opportunity to interact with the language, brushing your teeth while listening to a podcast, reading product labels in English, using English for your grocery list, or setting your phone's interface to English. These may seem like small, even insignificant details, but they compound into something powerful, a lifestyle of constant exposure. And here's an interesting side effect. Once you start connecting English to the things you genuinely enjoy, you'll begin to look forward to it. Learning stops being something that drains your energy and becomes something that adds to it. You'll want to meditate, cook, or exercise, not just for the main activity, but because it's also your moment of connection with English. That emotional shift from "I have to study" to "I want to do this" is what makes consistency easy and long-lasting. Think of it like blending two layers of your life together, your daily habits and your language goals. When these layers merge, your progress becomes invisible yet unstoppable. You no longer ask yourself, "When will I have time to practice English?" because you're already doing it, naturally, continuously, effortlessly. The dual benefit is clear. You accomplish a necessary daily task and absorb useful language at the same time, making your learning process incredibly efficient. You're not sacrificing extra time, you're simply making the time you already have more meaningful. Every minute spent in motion, every task completed becomes an investment in your fluency. Over days and weeks, those small overlapping moments add up. You'll realize that you're understanding more, speaking with greater confidence, and even thinking in English, all because you stopped separating learning from living.
Habit 3. Read for fun, not for a test. Reading is one of the most efficient and underrated habits for language learning. The goal isn't to finish a book a week. It's to make reading a small, consistent part of your daily life, even for just 5 minutes. Most people associate reading in English with studying, textbooks, grammar explanations, or long, difficult novels that feel more like a challenge than a pleasure. But reading doesn't have to be an academic activity. It can be one of the most enjoyable and relaxing ways to absorb the language naturally. When you approach reading not as a test, but as a moment of curiosity and discovery, it stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like exploration. You're not studying English, you're simply letting it unfold before you. Why is it so powerful? First, it builds your vocabulary and improves your spelling almost without you noticing. Every time you read a new word in context, your brain stores not just its meaning, but also its structure, its placement in a sentence, and the emotions connected to that scene. That's why words learned through reading stick so much better than words memorized from a list. Second, unlike videos or conversations, reading allows you to go at your own pace. You can slow down, reread a sentence, highlight a phrase, or stop for a moment to think about why it's written that way. It gives you full control over the rhythm of your learning. No pressure, no hurry, just progress at your own tempo. But perhaps the most important benefit is that consistent reading helps your brain internalize the invisible rules of English. The flow, the rhythm, the way sentences sound right even when you can't fully explain why. Over time, you start developing that intuitive sense of what is natural in English. You'll find yourself writing or speaking a sentence, and something inside you will say, "No, that doesn't sound quite right." And you'll correct it without even knowing the grammar rule behind it. That intuition doesn't come from memorizing. It comes from exposure. And reading gives you that exposure in its purest form. A surprisingly effective tip for getting started is to read your favorite childhood books in English, like The Little Prince or Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Because you already know the story, your brain doesn't have to work hard to follow the plot. It can relax and focus entirely on absorbing the language.
There's something almost magical about revisiting familiar stories in a new language. It's like seeing them through fresh eyes. You already know what's coming, so you're free to notice the small details, the choice of words, the structure of sentences, the expressions that don't exist in your native language. And because these stories are emotionally connected to your childhood memories, they leave a stronger impression on your mind. If you prefer something lighter, short stories, blog posts, or even social media captions from English creators are excellent starting points. The important thing is to read something you genuinely enjoy. For example, if you're interested in personal growth, try short articles from websites like Medium or Tiny Buddha. If you love technology, read reviews or news from TechCrunch. If you enjoy fashion, food, or travel, follow English language magazines or influencers who write about those topics. When the content aligns with your interests, your motivation stays high, and learning happens almost automatically. One helpful practice is extensive reading, which means reading for pleasure, not for perfection. Don't stop at every unknown word. Just keep going. Your brain is incredibly good at figuring out meaning from context. If you read a sentence like, "She grabbed her umbrella before stepping into the rain," you don't need to look up the word umbrella. The image is clear enough. By doing this, you train your intuition, and over time, you'll find that your understanding expands naturally. If you want to make your reading sessions more powerful, try combining them with listening. Many ebooks today come with accompanying audiobooks. Listening and reading at the same time allows you to connect the written form of words with their pronunciation and rhythm. It's especially effective for improving your comprehension and fluency because you see and hear how native speakers structure their thoughts in real time. It's like having a personal guide who shows you the rhythm of the language in real time. Another small but impactful tip is to create a reading ritual. It could be 10 minutes before bed, a few pages with your morning coffee, or during your lunch break. Keep your favorite book or reading app within reach. No stress, no obligation. The consistency matters far more than the duration. It's not about reading a lot in one day, it's about showing up every day, even for a few minutes. Over time, this routine turns into a comforting moment, a quiet time where you disconnect from noise and reconnect with your growth. Reading in English is more than language practice. It's an act of connection. You connect with stories, with people, with emotions, and with ideas from another part of the world. It trains not just your vocabulary, but also your empathy, your imagination, and your ability to think in a new way. When you approach reading with curiosity rather than pressure, you'll find that you're not just learning English, you're expanding your world. So don't aim to read faster or harder. Aim to read with joy. Pick a story that moves you, a character that fascinates you, or a topic that excites you. Read it not to pass a test, but to experience it. Because when you read for fun, you don't just improve your English, you fall in love with it.
Habit 4. Become your own conversation partner. The idea of speaking with a native speaker can be terrifying. For many learners, the simple thought of starting a conversation in English causes tension, the fear of making mistakes, sounding silly, or not finding the right words at the right time. This fear is completely normal, but if you let it control you, it can become the biggest obstacle to your progress. The irony is that speaking is exactly the skill you need to practice the most, yet it's the one you avoid because you feel unprepared. So how do you break this cycle? The solution is simpler than it seems. Start by speaking with the one person you're always with, yourself. Talking to yourself may sound strange at first, but it's one of the most effective and low-pressure ways to practice English. You can do it anywhere, at any time, and without fear of judgment. Start small. Describe what you're doing out loud while doing simple tasks like, I'm making coffee. Now I'm adding sugar. The water is boiling. It might feel awkward at first, but what you're really doing is training your brain to think and speak in English simultaneously. This habit helps bridge the gap between knowing words and actually using them in real time. It's not just about pronunciation, it's about fluency, the smooth connection between thought and expression. You can also narrate your day as it unfolds, like a storyteller of your own life. When you wake up, you might say, I didn't sleep very well, but today I have a lot to do. Let's make it a productive day. As you walk to work or school, describe what you see. The sky looks beautiful this morning. There's a lot of traffic today. Over time, this running internal dialogue in English becomes automatic, and you'll find yourself thinking more naturally in the language. You're no longer translating from your native tongue. You're simply expressing what's on your mind. This is a crucial first step because it's a low-stakes way to build the muscle memory for speaking. Think of it like training before the real game. You get to practice sentence structure, rhythm, and pronunciation without the pressure of performing. It helps you build confidence and makes speaking English feel like a normal, comfortable part of your daily routine. When you eventually talk to another person, your mind and mouth already know how to work together. You've rehearsed the patterns, the sounds, and even the emotional rhythm of expressing yourself in English. One powerful way to enhance this practice is by using structured dialogues that mirror real-life situations. That's where the English Conversation Guide comes in, a complete resource designed to help you master everyday English communication. It includes over 100 dialogues that cover common situations like ordering food at a restaurant, asking for directions, small talk with coworkers, interviews, shopping, and much more. Each dialogue comes with audio included, so you can listen, repeat, and shadow native pronunciation. You can use it during your self-practice sessions. First, listen to the conversation, then try to repeat each part aloud, and finally, act out both sides of the dialogue as if you were in that situation. It's like having a personal language coach and practice partner available 24/7. Find the link in the comments. Imagine how much confidence you'd gain if you practiced these short, realistic conversations every day, in the home, in the car, or even while walking. You'd start recognizing familiar sentence structures and phrases that appear again and again in real life. You'd know how to respond quickly because you've already rehearsed it dozens of times. The more you use these guided dialogues, the less you'll hesitate when speaking to real people. And that's the real goal, to turn English from something you study into something you live. Talking to yourself is also a great way to identify gaps in your vocabulary. When you get stuck trying to express an idea, say you want to describe a feeling or object but don't know the word, make a quick note of it. Later, look it up, learn it, and use it the next time. This active loop of expression and correction accelerates your learning far more than passive memorization ever could. You can even make this habit more fun and engaging by pretending you're in specific situations. Imagine you're explaining your favorite movie to a friend, presenting an idea in a meeting, or welcoming a tourist to your city. The more creative you get, the more you'll enjoy it. You can record yourself speaking and listen back later, not to judge yourself, but to notice progress. Maybe your pronunciation has improved, or maybe you sound more fluent than you expected. These small victories build motivation and reinforce the habit. Over time, something magical happens.
The voice that once hesitated and second-guessed every word starts to flow freely. You'll realize that your fear of speaking wasn't a lack of ability. It was simply a lack of practice in a safe environment. By becoming your own conversation partner, you've created that safe environment for yourself. So don't wait for the perfect partner, the perfect moment, or the perfect accent. You already have the best partner you could ask for, yourself. Start today. Speak out loud. Narrate your actions. Play with words. Use tools like the English Conversation Guide to make your practice structured and realistic. Bit by bit, your confidence will grow, and speaking English will feel as natural as breathing.
Habit 5. Focus on clarity, not a perfect accent. One of the biggest misconceptions about learning English, or any language, is the idea that you must sound like a native speaker to be truly fluent. Many learners chase a perfect accent, trying to imitate the exact rhythm and tone of British or American speakers, only to end up frustrated and self-conscious. The truth is, your goal is not to erase who you are. It's to communicate clearly. There's a profound difference between pronunciation and accent. Pronunciation is about clarity, how well you form sounds, how clearly you articulate words so that others can understand you easily. Accent, on the other hand, is the natural melody and rhythm that reflects your background, your culture, and even your identity. It's what makes your voice unique. Trying to completely get rid of it is like trying to erase your fingerprint. You don't need to sound like someone else. You just need to be understood. Think about this for a moment. In one university-level Chinese course, students spent the entire beginning of the semester not on grammar, not on writing, but entirely on phonetics, the study of sounds. Every day, they would sit, listen, and repeat. They practiced tones, trained their ears to distinguish subtle differences, and focused intensely on shaping the sounds correctly. Why? Because language begins with sound. You can memorize thousands of words, but if people can't understand you when you speak them, communication fails. And it's exactly the same with English. You could know all the grammar rules. You could even write beautifully. But if your spoken English lacks clarity, even simple ideas can get lost. This shift in mindset, from chasing perfection to pursuing clarity, is liberating. It releases you from the impossible expectation of sounding native and allows you to focus on what truly matters: being understood, expressing yourself confidently, and connecting with others. When you aim for clarity, you'll notice something amazing happens. People stop focusing on your accent and start focusing on your message. They stop straining to understand and start engaging with you naturally. You become an effective communicator, not because you sound like someone from London or New York, but because your words are clear, your tone is steady, and your confidence shines through. To improve your clarity, focus on small, consistent pronunciation practice. Choose a few challenging sounds, for example, the difference between ship and sheep, or think and sink. Record yourself speaking, listen back, and adjust. Slow down when needed. Don't rush. Most learners speak too fast, believing it makes them sound fluent. But in truth, it often makes their speech less clear. Fluency is not speed, it's flow. The ability to speak smoothly and clearly with natural rhythm. Practice mimicking short clips from English videos, paying attention to how words connect, how the mouth moves, and how the intonation rises and falls.
These details add clarity and confidence to your speech without forcing you to abandon your natural accent. Remember, your accent tells your story. It's a part of who you are. It says, "I learned this language with dedication," and that's something to be proud of. Some of the world's most respected speakers, teachers, and leaders speak English with distinct accents, yet their words are powerful because they are clear, expressive, and full of authenticity. So instead of chasing a perfect accent that doesn't exist, focus on mastering pronunciation and communication. Speak slowly, enunciate clearly, and let your natural voice carry your message with pride. In the end, clarity will open doors that perfectionism could never unlock. Conclusion: your fluency starts today. Real, lasting progress in English doesn't come from rare moments of motivation or long, exhausting study sessions once in a while. It comes from what you do consistently, not occasionally. The learners who truly grow are not the ones who study the hardest for 1 week and then stop. They're the ones who quietly, steadily build English into their daily lives until it becomes natural, automatic, and effortless. Think of fluency not as a goal you chase, but as a rhythm you live. You don't need to apply all 5 habits at once. In fact, trying to do that would only make you feel overwhelmed. The secret is to start small. Choose just one habit that feels simple enough to begin today. Maybe it's listening to English for 10 minutes in the morning, reading a few pages of a book at night, or talking to yourself while you cook. The power of small steps is that they build momentum. Over time, these tiny daily actions compound, and suddenly you realize you're thinking in English, responding faster, and understanding effortlessly. So ask yourself right now, which of these habits are already part of your day, and which one are you ready to add next? Remember, fluency isn't something you wait for. It's something you create, one consistent moment at a time. And if you want to keep growing, learning, and practicing with real-life English, make sure you subscribe to English Uncovered. Every week, we bring you practical lessons, listening practice, and inspiring strategies to help you build the confidence and fluency you deserve. Your journey doesn't start someday. It starts today.